Now, the gospel. This is when I enter your life. The gospel. This is a question I always had, and I'm gonna tell everybody the gospel. First of all, let me tell you how you just have to follow your mind, and how I even got my acting career started off professionally. I met Will when I was a senior in high school. He came to speak to all the students at the school, at some event, right, in St. Petersburg, Florida. And he was talking about y'all had did something. I think he said he had did something for Puffy. I believe did y'all do something for Puffy, or y'all met Puffy back in the day or something?
We met him, and we were trying to get on with Puff, but you know, that ain't work out.
Okay, he didn't want to go shopping with y'all. All right,
nah,
so
not quite.
So I was talking to Jackie Long earlier today, and I was asking him about Puffy and him shopping for people. But anyways, so he came to talk. He was talking something about making movies and Puffy and all that, and I was like, "Yo, I want to be an actor." And I said, "Yo," so I went to holler at Will. He gave me a card. He like, "Yo, if you ever come up to Atlanta, holler at me." Just so happened I got into Clark Atlanta University. So when I got up to Atlanta, I said, "Yo, I'm trying to be an actor or whatever." That's when y'all was doing the gospel. He said, "Yo, come to the set as a background actor." And I was like, "Cool." I asked all my friends. I'm like, "Yo, y'all want to go to this movie set? Be extras on this movie?" They was like, "Man, we at school, man. Get your old bitch ass out of my face." I said, "Oh, no disrespect." So I said, "All right, well, fuck y'all then." So I said, "I'm gonna go to this goddamn movie set by my damn self." So I pull up, said what's up to Will, kind of reintroduce myself. Yo, no longer than 5 minutes being on that set is when he introduced me to you. He was like, "Yo, this the director, this Rob Hardy." And I remember, I don't know if you remember, I definitely remember, you was like, "Yo, what you do?" And I was like, "Man, I do anything. Sing, dance, act, fly, whatever you need me to do, I do it." And I remember y'all, this is my memory, y'all kind of whispered to each other. And then you was like, one of y'all was like, "Hey, you want to audition for a part of the movie?" I was like, "Hell yeah." Y'all gave me the sides. I went into y'all trailer. I think y'all shared a trailer at that point. That's how long ago this was. Y'all ain't sharing trailers now. Y'all should share. I went in y'all trailer, learned them lines, did my audition on tape. I'm talking about on the spot. I probably had them sides for 20 minutes. Y'all went back, talked, came back, you hired. The next day I was filming my first movie. Shout out to you. I will be forever thankful and grateful to you and Will for doing that for me.
I remember that, man. I remember that. And look, my favorite line, one of my favorite lines of that movie was when Boris Kojo was like, "Hey, man, you know what I'm saying? Come holler at me at church." And you were like, "Church?" You know what I'm saying? That was it, man. That was the line right there.
That got a good laugh. Now, and I want people to know the reason they asked me to audition because there was another actor or rapper or whatever who wasn't showing up. And that's why they say ain't nothing is luck. It's when preparation meets opportunity. Now, I went to a performing arts high school, so the preparation was there, and then the opportunity came, and then everything aligned. When you did the gospel, I wanted to know, was that something, because you wrote it, right? You wrote the gospel.
Yeah.
Was that something that came from a personal experience, or were you all seeing that Tyler Perry was having success in the kind of gospel realm, and you all was thinking, let's do a movie in that area because Tyler Perry's having success with those type of films?
Nah, it was, we had a manager at that time named Holly Davis Carter. And Holly she managed Usher back then along with his mom. She did all the movie stuff for him. And then she also had all these gospel artists, from Mary, Fred Hammond, all these artists. So she was like, "Yo, you guys ought to write a gospel movie." So kind of like with Twa, I was like, I don't know. But then I was thinking, you know what? We've been the Twa Boys for a second. So we probably do something totally different from being the Twa Boys. So the gospel gave us a chance to kind of flex a different muscle. You know what I'm saying? It had a built-in demo because of, it was, a faith-based movie, but you know, I tried to make it about somebody that was cynical. And so so that's kind of how that movie came together. And that changed it for us as filmmakers, because that was the first time, and we had, you know, started doing movies for Sony, but they were always like erotic thrillers. That's all they would let us do once Twa popped. They didn't want to hear anything else except erotic thrillers. So The Gospel was the first time that they gave us a shot to do something different, and it was a Screen Gems movie. Mm-hmm. And back then, Screen Gems was doing stuff like The Brothers, Two Can Play That Game, you know, all those kind of movies that were hot. You know, Deliverance from Eva. Screen Gems was like, you know, the studio that was doing all the cool black stuff that was making money. And that was our first Screen Gems movie. And, you know, it made us, quote unquote, legit filmmakers in Hollywood.
That's what's up. And so that led to Stomp the Yard after that. And how did y'all get the script for Stomp the Yard? I want to know, like, how that came across y'all desk in the first place.
So Stomp the Yard was somebody, you know, kicked to us the concept about doing, you know, a step show movie. So we started looking into that and developing that. And Screen Gems, again, had just done the movie You Got Served. So they had already had that big success with the B2K dance movie. So we were like, well, what if we did a movie with step dancing, right?
Right.
But at an HBCU. And what we wanted to tell the story was, you know, pledging and Greek life and historically black colleges. What they wanted was a dance movie. So we said, well, let's put the two together. So Greg Anderson, our partner from Twa, initially wrote the first few drafts of Stomp the Yard, of what became Stomp the Yard, because he had another.
It was called Steppin' at first, right?
Yeah, well, we called it Steppin', but I forget what the name of his project was before then, but it originated with him as far as him writing the script. And Will was going to produce, I was going to direct, but because they wanted a dance movie, they wanted a music video director. So they brought in a guy, Sylvan White, who, even though we did music videos, had also done some other really cool movies. So great filmmaker. He came in and killed it.
Oh yeah, classic. Stomp the Yard's a classic.
Oh yeah. So look, man. So Stomp the Yard made us super legit in Hollywood, because it was the #1 movie in the country 2 weeks in a row. You know, shot in Atlanta by us. So it was, you know, as far as we were concerned, like our filmmaking lives, you know, took off from there.
I don't know if people, first of all, if anybody don't know, I was in Stomp the Yard also. I had 2 lines and I stood behind Neo the whole damn movie. I was like, where the camera at? It's going to be on Neo. Let me stand right behind this dude. The crazy thing about The Gospel is, was that Idris Elba first movie?
Yeah. Yeah, so he was on The Wire, and so then he did an HBO movie, that was like a direct-to-HBO movie about like African genocide. And then he came into The Gospel, and that was his first theatrical movie ever.
That's
was our movie.
That's when I realized he wasn't American. I was I was on set and I heard him talking in the bridge. I said, who is this nigga? What? I was like, this ain't who I know from The Wire at all. This ain't.
Let me say what's crazy was when me and him met about doing The Gospel. I went and met with him, and I didn't know that he was British either. So I went back and I told my manager, I was like, yo, it'll never work. The dude got an English accent. Then he was like, Rob, listen, he's been Stringer Bell on The Wire for all these years, and you never knew. I was like, oh yeah.
Right. Yeah, that do make sense. All right.
Yeah.
All right, so. Oh, hilarious. He pulled up a gospel. So this is what I wanted to know. All right. Y'all had like immense success, you and Will. When was the decision to y'all both go y'all separate ways when it came to the business? I know y'all still boys, but when it came to the business, when did y'all decide to make that thing? And was there any particular like movie that maybe didn't do as well, or what to make y'all make that decision? Because y'all was like Batman and Superman.
Hey, so look, it started after Stomp the Yard. So what happened was that before Stomp the Yard, I directed everything for the most part. Will produced everything. And the times when I didn't direct was when it was like, okay, I don't want to direct Twa 3 or whatever, because I don't want to get pigeonholed. So when the studio didn't want me to direct Stomp the Yard, which was cool, but because the movie took off and made, you know, a lot of money, people just saw me and Will as producers. It was like they forgot I directed. So then I would go to, you know, actors that I knew, like, yo, so I got this project. They're like, you can't direct me. You know what I'm saying? Y'all produce this thing I want to do, and we'll find a director. So it felt like it was hard for me to then get taken seriously as a feature director. And the people that were interested in me as a feature director wanted me to do like the gospel too. So then TV opened up and there was opportunities for me to apprentice. And it was crazy because I started apprenticing in television. I was on ER on that show. And when I was doing that, you know, Stomp the Yard came out and was like #1 in the country. And they was like, yo, Intern Boy, ain't that your movie? I was like, yeah. They was like, man, that's dope. Hey, but you gonna get that coffee though? You gonna run me those copies?
That's
you know
crazy.
So it was a really humbling experience at that time. And so I think what happened is that over time, I got more and more experience with, you know, in TV. And even though me and Will would still come together and we would produce other projects together when I wasn't directing, just over time, we just did less and less together, right? And most of the projects that we had set up where I was going to direct and he was going to produce together just didn't go for whatever reason, you know? Sometimes you develop 5 movie projects and none of them go. So that's kind of what happened. So over time, we just wanted to do different stuff, but we were still homeboys and still are. So, you know, that's what happened.
So when you got into directing TV more, because you're killing it, you're killing it with yeah, man, absolutely. You directed, I don't remember what, hey, look at that. Okay, we see what's going on around here. This is what I wanted to know about TV directing. How much say-so do you have when you come onto a set? Do you really have to stick to what they have written? How much freedom do they give you? Because I know when it comes to film, you have immense freedom. It seems that way. I don't know how much the studio kind of get involved, but it seemed on TV, I wanted to know how much freedom do you have? Like when you're working on a show like Power, do you have with the script and casting and all those type of things?
It depends on the show. You know what I'm saying? Some shows give you more, some shows give you less, but the main difference is that in the features, it's a one-off. So if you go and do, you know, I don't know, Creed or Black Panther, right? And you're the director. Well, it's your vision. So it's like, well, what do you want to do? You know? And so you do that. Obviously, you got, you know, bosses at the studio and the producer, whatever. TV is different because you're doing an episode of something. So you look at an episode in a season as like a book. And I'm doing the 11th episode. So that's chapter 11. So I got to look to the writer to kind of give me some more direction because they know that chapter 11 is setting up something that's going to pay off in chapter 19. So I got to pay way more attention to what the writer needs. And then I can then put my stamp on it and say, okay, cool. So you want to do this? Well, let me try these 5 things. They say, just try the 4. Cool. So then those 4 things are my way of doing this. So that way it's like the best chapter 11 that I can make, but it still got to feel like it fits in that book. So I can't go and shoot something like all super crazy. And the way the show works is it's a lot more stable in how you do it.
Right. Now, there's something else I was interested in when it comes to directing the talent on a show like a Power, something that's successful. How much do the actors listen or are open to your suggestions when you give one? Because I even know being on MacGyver, you know, we on our 5th season and some directors will come in and you like, I got this. I think I've been doing this for a while. And then there's other directors that come in and you like, that was a fucking great idea. Yeah. But I want to know, when you're working on a show like a Power, you know, and you give these suggestions, how open are the actors, or do you find there's some type of hesitation because they feel like they know these characters so well?
It always depends on who the actor is. You know what I'm saying? I think that because everybody needs something different. Some actors really want direction and really want you to push them. Other people kind of want to just do what they do. So you kind of figure that out. But a lot of my direction has to do with story. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, you can be the character for 10 years. But if your notes are story driven, if your direction is story driven, then you're there to service the story. So it's not like I'm saying, hey, Justin, I know you live with this character, but do this because I think it's cool. Nah, it's like, nah, but in this story that we're telling, here's what we want to show. And I think that for most actors, when they understand that, they tend to be more open. Right. You know, there's some that aren't, but most of them are like, oh, okay, you want to make this be the best thing that it can be, and I'm on board with that.
And how do you deal with a difficult actor? Because I know I know, if anybody don't know, every show, a 1 hour show, every 1 hour show, there's at least one crazy cast member, at least one, period, without question. It never fails. So how do you deal with the crazy one on set?
Hey, trial and error, trying to figure out what they need, what's the best way to communicate with them. You touch and go. So you try, okay, that didn't work. Let me try this. Okay, that didn't work. Okay, let me try that. And you just keep doing that. And you know what I'm saying? And then when something happens that's good, you try to reinforce that. Like, yo, you killed it. You did a good job, yada, yada, yada. So then that way they really see what your vibe is. And there's sometimes when they just are on what they're on, and you just got a job to do. So you try not to take it personal, and you just keep it moving. And as long as you got what you need, it's all good.
Right. I feel you.
Yeah.
I know you're doing TV, but are you still actively developing film projects? Is film directing something that's still a passion of yours? Or are you kind of more focused on TV because with the Netflix and Hulu and Amazon, there's a wide spectrum of places you could take and tell a story that's episodic?
Yeah, nah, listen, I'm looking to do both. So I have a producer partner. Her name is Mitzi Miller. So we have a few different projects that's in different places. Some are features. So I'm hoping to be able to talk more about that soon as stuff is a little bit further along. And we're also developing a bunch of TV projects and things that are really starting to take off. So I like them both, man. But I definitely want to do movies too. But just, telling good stories where I can, build the world in a movie or do the pilot for a show. I love all that.
I'm going to tell y'all why he wanted to do a pilot for a show, because any of y'all don't know. If that show gets picked up, he gets a check as long as that show is on the air. That's some shit that I found out. I was like, why these big A-list directors shooting these pilots? And then you find out when they get picked up, they get a check and that's like money just coming in, and you never have to be on set. James Wan, you know James Wan, right?
I know who he is. Yeah. Well, we don't kick it, but I definitely know who he is.
He directed all the big horror movies. He directed the pilot episode of MacGyver. He directed Aquaman movie, but the Annabelle movies, all those horror movies that's successful, not the ones that don't do well, the ones that's successful. He directed them. That dude has not been on the set of MacGyver since that pilot episode. We going on season 5. I ain't seen him since, but better believe he collecting a check every episode.
Hey, man.
So the last thing is, I wanted to know, how do you feel about films going straight to these streaming services? Do you think, because I know you come from a day, and I pretty much do too, when you want to see movies at the theater. But now with the Netflixes and all those types of films, like, it's still a goal of yours to get your movies at the theaters, or is this just, yo, I'm just trying to get it made and get it seen through any type of streaming outlet, that I can?
I think the first goal is to get it made, but I'd rather, if possible, have it be in theaters, because I feel like it's a different experience when you watch something, in a theater, and you have to leave your house and go there, and you get to experience that with other people. So y'all laughing together or screaming together or whatever it is, and the presentation on the big screen is just, it's just a different vibe. So, and again, the work that you put in is still the same, even if it's on, that you're watching on the phone, but just seeing it up there, man, just feels great, and just adds to the magic of it,
Hey, this just kept popping in my head. Being a Black director, right? How difficult do you feel like it is to be a Black director? One, to be able to direct a studio movie, and two, just to get a studio film made in general.
Well, I think that, like, the interesting thing about being a Black director is, I think a lot of times it's easy for you to get pigeonholed in saying, okay, great, Black movie, right? That's you. Okay, or urban, you know what I'm saying? Okay, urban pilot, that's you.
Right.
One of the things that was interesting about TV was, when I kind of got in there, most of the stuff that I did was mainstream shows. They had a Black person or two in there, but it was just very different from when me and Will were first doing movies. Everything was about and for Black people. And, I love making content for people of color. I absolutely love it. But doing these other, shows, that everybody loves also, was just something different. I think that sometimes as a director, as a Black man who also directs, that sometimes people can overlook that and just say, oh, okay, Rob's Black, he's from Atlanta. Okay, do we have the urban, comedy, and maybe the first thought isn't to say, can you do, Aquaman the movie?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I think that when people like John Singleton, like when he did Fast and Furious 2, you know what I'm saying? Or Ryan Coogler, and Black Panther, yeah, it's Black people in it, but it's a big Marvel franchise movie. Like, anytime that we get a chance to do that cool stuff, I think it's, those are all big deals. That's not taken away from any of our movies. I love it all.
Right.
I'm just saying that a lot of times we just get pigeonholed sometimes.
Hey, straight up.
Yeah.
But hey, man, I just want to let you know, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for your time. Like I said, man, I want to do this to celebrate people I feel like are living legends and making legendary moves. I mean, this has definitely been one of the most informative. I usually just tell dick jokes the whole time, but I said, you know what? I said, for this particular one, I'm going to refrain from the penis jokes and actually ask some intelligent questions. But I really appreciate you sharing that information, because, listen, I'm going to tell you, man, as a young Black, actor and comedian, and somebody that aspires to direct and produce and do all those things, it's good to just hear this information, because what's common knowledge to you is like gems for somebody like me and people that's gonna be watching and listening to this, because sometimes you just simply don't know. Right. And when you have somebody that's willing to share that information, it's doing such a service to the community to make sure that more people of color and more people with those dreams and aspirations could then go off and accomplish these things. So I just want to say I appreciate you. You a king, keep doing your thing, brother. And yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on.
Hey, King Just, I appreciate you like always, my dude. And hopefully when I'm back on the A side, we can do it up.
Straight up. You know where I be. All right, bro. Peace out.
My dude, for sure.
Sway.